Morning, y'all. It is a beautiful Saturday morning here in Arkansas, and I am back in my sewing room, which you can probably tell from all this back here. I've been cleaning in here, and I'm at that stage where it gets worse before it gets better. I have storage everywhere in this little small room. My husband put all these shelves up here for me, and those are extra pillows up there. But on around farther down that side is where I keep all my quilt battings. The problem with my sewing room is that I quilted for so many years, and I have all of my quilting stuff. And now I'm cross stitching again, and I have all my cross stitching stuff. So it's a struggle to decide what to keep and what to get rid of. I will quilt again. I have lots of quilt tops that need quilting and lots of fabric that needs to be sewn up, but I also have a lot of things that I can and should get rid of. That's really hard, but at this stage of the game, I need to do some serious culling. Okay, I have lots to talk about today. I have on a sleeveless shirt, which I don't normally wear because at my age, I don't really like for people to see my arms. However, I have a place back here on my neck that the dermatologist did a biopsy on a couple of days ago, and I'm sure it's fine, but it's just something you have to check out. And it's kind of sore, so I didn't want to put anything over it. So what you see is what you get, y'all. Had a fun experience this morning. I called my LNS, which is actually an hour away, and talked to Mary. Hi, Mary, who is a subscriber, I found out this morning. I was looking for a couple of things, and my daughter's going to be in Little Rock today, so she was going to pick them up for me, and they were Mary, bless her heart, I was looking for Nathan Hale from the Little House Early American series, and they didn't have one left, but she told me she'd sell me her copy because she hadn't used it yet. So, Mary, thank you so much for that kindness. Oh, y'all, have you watched Abby's latest video? She has blue hair. I love it. It was just a gorgeous color blue, and Abby, you look so beautiful. Just such a happy color. I'm thinking maybe I need a blue streak or two. Of course, if I use that old lady bluing shampoo kind of stuff, I probably could get a few blue streaks. I might try that. Anyway, I'm going to, Aunt Joyce, I keep forgetting stuff I want to tell y'all, and I have a list. I need to be looking at my list, don't I? That'd be helpful. Aunt Joyce is doing better. We got her out of rehab last week, 1 week ago, and my husband and I took her home. She lives 400 miles from me. I think I told you that. In Jefferson City, Missouri. She lives with my sister in a big apartment in my sister's house. It's a mother-in-law's quarters, if you are familiar with that term. Anyway, she is in a wheelchair and will likely be in there for a very long time. Her bone's not healing real well. She has COPD and takes a steroid every day, and steroids inhibit bone growth. So this may be a long battle for her. We've also had some difficulty with paperwork. Go figure, with federal stuff, trying to get her the correct wheelchair. We have a little travel wheelchair for her right now, and it works great as long as we're pushing her. But she needs one that she can wheel herself around in. Otherwise, she's just kind of stuck where she is, and because she's blind, you know, that's just a double whammy. It's not a pleasant situation for her, and I know she's frustrated and tired. So those of you who believe in prayer, if you would lift her up, I would be ever so grateful. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, I pulled up my YouTube the other day, and some of my subscriptions were gone, just deleted. YouTube just arbitrarily deleted some people. So now I'm searching for some, and I'm sure I may have forgotten some that I had on there. So if I haven't been to see your channel lately or commented lately, you might shoot me a message because I may not be able to find you. Most of you are still there, but some, my number had been cut significantly. Maybe I had a few too many subscriptions. I don't know. Anyway, I'm behind because of the trip. We were gone several days taking care of my aunt. But I'm back watching, and I hope to get through a bunch more this weekend. It's going to be a quiet weekend for us. We're staying home, and the lake traffic is pretty heavy. Not as bad as I've seen it in the past, but it's significant, and and it's hot, so we'll be staying in. Lots of things have happened. I want to show you. I have a few FFOs. Let's see. This piece, I showed you this last time. This is front pattern was a free one from Primitive Hair. It was a Happy Mother's Day, which I did not put on there. I just wanted the hair and her baby. So this is how I finished it to go in one of my dough bowls. I also finished this one, which I cannot remember the name of, but I've shown you this before, so you might, if you really want to know, message me and I'll look it up. But it was on my last video, I think. The finish on this one was. Love the way it turned out. I struggled with that bow. Do y'all have trouble putting bows on? And do you put those on, buttons and bows, before you stuff it or after you stuff it? I have no idea, but I did it after, and it wasn't entirely successful for me. This one was a new start and a finish since my last video. It's a shepherd's bush. It came upon a midnight clear. I did change it just a little bit, left a couple of things off. I wanted it to fit in this frame, and I really like the way it turned out. It's I don't remember what that fabric is, but it's very coarse, and it's a natural raw kind of a thing, and I think probably it's 14 or 18. I don't know. Something I found in my stash and thought would look good with this scene of Bethlehem. I also want to confess a failure. I had started this pattern last time I showed you. I love that rabbit. I just love him. This came from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, that magazine. And I had finished the Merry Christmas and started on the rabbit and got somewhere right in here. I was struggling, y'all. I couldn't get it stitched. It was hard. I didn't want to do it. And I finally figured out, just a crazy, stupid, newbie mistake. This fabric is, I want to say it's a 40. It's either a 36 or a 40. And I was using 2 threads. Well, for heaven's sakes, no wonder I hated it. I couldn't get it to work. It wouldn't go through. So I ended up frogging, taking out all those stitches from that rabbit. And I've decided that at some point I'll redo that, but not today. Today we're going with this right here, and I will finish that into a little ornament and call it good. I have several whips to show you. Oh geez, I put that basket in the wrong place. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to try to move this around a little bit. This is Heaven and Nature Sing. I hadn't worked on this one in a little while. I'm not sure I'd worked on it at the last in the last video, but I've gotten quite a bit more done on this. There, yeah, you can see that. This reindeer. I tell you, stitching with that brown's beginning to get old. But I love that pattern so much that I will not give up on it. I also worked on Home of a Needleworker. That's a little house pattern. Looks like this, and you've all probably seen that. In fact, Sylvia from Beckisland just finished it and got it framed. She has hers all framed, and it's gorgeous. And this is where I am on this one. Sorry, I didn't iron it. I should have ironed that for you. But I believe you can see how far I am. The house is finished. I need to do all the words and the borders. And I think this other side has some leaves and some apples. I guess those are apples that need to go on. But I've made some really good progress on that, and I'm pleased with it. And it's probably going to be the next thing that I get back to. Well, maybe not the next thing. Maybe the second to the next thing. I also worked some on Liberty. This is a Brenda Gervais pattern that you've seen me working on before. And I made a little bit more progress on that. Uncle Sam is almost finished. Not quite, but almost. I'm getting there. The letters on that one will go pretty fast, I think. Uncle Sam was kind of tedious, but fun. I'm enjoying him. Oh, I have a new start. McKenna's going to love this one because she's already done it. And she's going to say, "It's about time, Marlene." Halloween delivery. Kind of dark in here when the clouds come across there. Oh my goodness, I love this one. What a fun stitch it is. It's still in the hook, but you can see what I've gotten done. I've got the bird's head and the years I'm starting on the background. That background in the years is almost identical to the fabric. I probably should have just left it. But I'm a sucker for trying to follow patterns. I don't know why. Crazy. I'm just crazy. That's okay. I deserve to be. I'm almost 71. I keep telling y'all that. You get to do most anything when you're this age. I also have another new start. This one is Let Freedom Ring from Lila's Studio, which many of you out there are doing. I chose to start in that upper left-hand corner. And this is what I've gotten done. I'm using the colors and the threads as specified in her pattern. I would have been a little farther along, but I got one color wrong and had to undo that whole, like 4 petals on that flower. I don't know what I was thinking. I also worked on Scary Mouse. Loving Scary Mouse. He is the cutest thing. This is another Brenda Gervais pattern. I started it and I had to wait a little bit because I had ordered that thread corn husk that is primarily used in here. And I had done something wrong. So I had to take it out. It had the wrong color, I guess. And I'm using this fabric that has a little ghost on the back. And so you can see in the bee that one of the ghosts kind of shows through faintly. I really like that. Looks kind of spooky. That one's going to be a real fun finish when I get through with it. I have a piece that I have started and put in the car. I actually started this during Mania. And it's called Oh Christmas Tree from Not Forgotten Farm. I can't remember if I showed that to you or not. But I'm not in the car a whole lot or in waiting rooms a whole lot like you people with young children. But I do have the O finished. And I'm ready to start on my trees. Maybe that'll satisfy my itch to do the trees until I can get to And a Forest Grew. I have that all kitted up and waiting. And then the last thing that I worked on was the Little House series of Early Americans. And I have finished, I still don't have that border across the top done, but I did finish Martha Washington. Man, that house took forever. And I've seen Nathan Hale. I think his house is probably going to take just as long. It's just going to be a different color, that's all. I really am enjoying this, although they're coming out, the patterns are coming out a little faster than I anticipated. I actually thought we were going to have more time in between. That didn't happen. But, so I'm feeling a little rushed to get those done. I know if I get behind, it's going to be bad. It'll take me a while. Okay, here's another FFO that was hiding underneath something over here. I believe in Christmas. A little Christmas ornament. I don't remember that pattern. But I can look it up if y'all want me to. Okay. I had the most fun thing happen. Several videos ago, I showed you a magazine that Cindy from Cindy's Cross Stitch sent me. Hi, Cindy. Because of a pattern that was in it called Tea Party. I loved that pattern, and she had it. It was an old magazine, and she had it, and she sent it to me. Well, I talked about it on one of my videos, and McKenna messaged me. She saw that piece stitched on Craigslist in Phoenix. I guess in Phoenix. Her area, somewhere in her surrounding area. So she put me in contact with the lady who was selling it, and I bought it. It was a very reasonable price. She had many things for sale. Her mother stitched a lot, and she said her house was full and her mother's house was full, and they just didn't have room for all of them, so she was getting rid of them. Of a few. Not all of them by any means, but a few. And so I bought that one, and it came in last week. I had her take it out of the frame because the frame was not in very good shape, and that would have been much more costly to mail. So she did that for me, but bless her heart, she included the mats with the piece, and I hadn't even thought about that. But what a savings that will be for me. I love it. Y'all look at this. Isn't that precious? So, so cute. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. She did tell me her mother's name, which I will put on the back of the frame once I get this framed. I believe this is on 18 or 22 count Ada. I'm not sure which count. I didn't measure it. And I think it's just the sweetest little thing. If you notice, she has one of the doll's bottles in her mouth. And I can remember as a little girl doing that, putting water in those doll's bottles and drinking it myself. Love this piece. So McKenna, thank you very much for putting me in touch with her. And the lady who sent it to me, I don't have permission to mention her name, but she was so kind. She sent me 2 other pieces for free. She just included them in her package. I guess that when she was trying to sell them, they did not sell. And so she was moving, she told me. So I don't know the name of this pattern. Isn't that sweet? Y'all, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I think I have a design wall in here in my sewing room that I used to use for all my quilting stuff, and I think I'm going to take all that down, maybe, and hang pictures up there of stitched things that I buy. And the third one she sent me, okay, this is adorable. It is an alphabet. Look at that. Wow. I'm thinking that might be good in a patriotic room. It has a little spot or 2 on it. Not bad. And possibly could be taken off of there and washed. Double matted. Has a basket of apples. There was one that okay, what X? Y'all, what's that? What's the X? I mean, for goodness sake, I can recognize cats and kangaroos and Santa Clauses and teddy bears, but I don't have a clue what that X is. It looks like a little soldier, maybe. I don't know, but I love it. I love the whole piece, but I sure would like to know what that X is if anybody knows. I had a random act of kindness this month, and you know, it seems like I might have had another one, but if I did, I don't remember it, so please forgive me. If you sent me something, remind me. Um, there we go, y'all, memory. But Taryn Verlin, so I'm sure you probably watch her, sent me this magazine because I loved this Uncle Sam that she had stitched. It is just adorable. So that's up high on my to-do list. Taryn, thank you so much. He is so cute. He's a little bit more involved than I thought at first, but that's okay. And then I bought a couple of things. I bought, if you follow Dina at Half Stitch Cross Stitch. Hi, Dina. Dina's going to be doing a stitch along of this pattern. A little bit of a glare on there, isn't there? And it's called Nantucket Rose. The day she announced that, I was on Stash Unload. Yes, I'm addicted. Don't judge. There she was. Well, of course I had to buy her. And I bought a few other patterns on Stash Unload, but I'm not going to go through those. I will show you a couple of other things I found while going to the thrift stores. Found this one in Jefferson City, Missouri. Love it. I'm going to need to restretch it. It's got a little bit of a wrinkle right here, and it's not an expensive frame. I think it's plastic. I want to say it's plastic. So I'm going to restretch that a little bit and see if I can't make it look a little bit better. It does not have glass in it, and I don't think I'm going to put glass in it. It's a linen, a very rough woven linen. And then this one, this is the last thrift piece my sister found at the Restore in Jefferson City. 50 cents, y'all. Oh, glare. Let's see. There we go. Certainly not my colors. Not at all. But if I make a little wall in the sewing room, then I think it would be fine in here. Or, you know, if I find somebody to give it to, I can give it away. It says Violet Vespers, Memories Rife, Shadowed Dreams of Child's Life. Sweet. Be good in a nursery. If you were using pastel colors, that would be good in there. Okay, I think that's most of what's on my list. But I thought I would do the 20 things about me. I forgot to bring something with me, but I'll just tell you about it. Number 1. Y'all, this is all the Stitchy stuff that's here. So if you don't want to hear this, you're welcome to go ahead and go on to your next whatever you're doing. I am a published author. I wrote a short story in, I believe it was late 2004, early 2005, that was published in a collection of short stories. And it was called, the book was called maybe Patchwork Stories or something. It's not in print anymore, although I do have 5 or 6 copies left. But it was a story about my mother, and I wrote it in the year after she died. It was a really odd way that it happened. I was writing my blog at that point in time, and someone contacted me and just said, I like the way you write. Would you be interested in writing a short story? And so I did, and they published it. Who knew? Okay, number 2. When I graduated from high school, I was only 17. I did not want to go to college. Well, I take that back. I had a tuition-free scholarship to go to a college, but I didn't want to go to that college. I wanted to go to a different college where my boyfriend was, and my daddy wouldn't let me. So I went on to the college where I had the scholarship, and I stayed 5 weeks, I think, until I turned 18, and I came home and said, I'm not going back, I'm getting married. And I did. I got married in the same week that I turned 18. How stupid was that? But in all fairness, we've been married almost 53 years now, and we're still together. Same guy. So I guess it worked. Anyway, I worked from then and for many, many years, and ended up going back to college when I was 35 years old. And that's a long story too. I'm not going to go into, but I started college at 35 and I worked full time and went to college full time and graduated with a bachelor's degree in math when I was 39. I taught algebra and geometry for one semester when I was moved to a guidance counselor position because they were desperate. And I had to go back to school because you have to have a master's degree to do that. So I worked full time, went to school full time, and got a master's degree in secondary counseling, which means teenagers. That's what I was certified to do. At some point, I really liked going to school once I got started. And at some point, I decided to go back again. And I ended up getting, I think, 30 hours beyond the master's, and got curriculum specialist certification as well as administration. Um, so I don't know. I went to school forever. I was 50 maybe by the time I quit taking classes again. I told you, algebra and geometry. Then I was a counselor for many, many years. I worked for the State Department of Education for a year, supervising guidance counselors. And then I helped to start a new school in Arkansas called the Arkansas School for Mathematics and Sciences at that time. It was a public boarding school for gifted kids. And I worked there, I believe, for 8 years. And then went into administration. I was an assistant high school principal and then an assistant superintendent, and at some point went back and was a high school principal at a small school. The first two administrative jobs were in a huge school district. I loved being a principal, my favorite job ever. I hated being an assistant superintendent, the worst job ever. I don't know. I have 3 children. This is number 4. I have 2 girls and a boy. The girls were 11 and almost 9 when our son was born, and they call him the golden child. Still call him the golden child, even though he's 40 now, because they thought he got away with murder. Number 5. In the last few years, I have been a missionary for large amounts of time during the year. We have gone a couple of times and stayed 4 months. We've gone a couple of times and stayed 2 months. Well, maybe more than a couple of times for that. We're not doing that anymore. We used to go to South Louisiana. But my husband had melanoma 10 years ago. He's 10 years out. But it messed up his thermostat, his internal thermostat. He stays hot all the time. The Louisiana heat was not good for him, so we are not doing that anymore. So I have substituted for that. I do a text ministry. I've mentioned that to y'all before. Monday through Friday mornings, I send out a text message that is either a Bible verse or a few sentences of something uplifting. I have, I don't know, maybe 30 people on my text list. However, those 30 people all send it on to other people. And it goes, I know, to several different countries. I don't know how many. But that's something I love doing. I miss a day every once in a while if I'm traveling or something. But most mornings, Monday through Friday, I'm sending that text message out. And I've said before, if anybody wants to be added, and a couple of you have, if you're willing to send me your cell phone number, I'm willing to put you on my list because I send it out as a group list. It's easy. Number 8. Vonna, you're going to love this one. I lived in a convent for a year. Yep, for real. When we were starting the Math Science School, we were in an old Catholic hospital started by nuns, so there was a convent attached. There were several of us that were there the first year without any students, and they were remodeling the building, and we were writing curriculum and recruiting kids, and it was my husband was in a town. He was still working in a town that was about an hour and a half from here, and I couldn't go home every day. So they let me have 2 rooms in the old convent, 2 cells they are called, that the nuns lived in. There were 2 other people that stayed in the convent at the same time that I did. There was 1 kitchen and 1 living room, and so it was kind of a co-op situation. We used that facility, and I lived there for really a little over a year, except for the weekends that I was able to go home. And it was very enjoyable, to tell you the truth. It was very quiet and peaceful, and I just did my own thing. So it was great. I worked a lot. I worked a lot of hours during that time. Oh, I forgot. I think I've skipped a couple of them. My husband was a redhead when I met him. He is not now. He looks a lot like me, same color hair. Our oldest daughter is a redhead. And then we skipped a generation, and none of our grandchildren are redheads. But our newest great-grandson has very little hair. However, we think he's going to be a redhead. We kind of like redheads in our family, so we're excited about that. I told you that I was a quilter. My mother was a quilter. My grandmother was a quilter. Runs in my family, I guess. Number 9. I have had several surgeries in my life. There are a lot of things in your body that they can take out and you don't even need them. I don't have my tonsils, my appendix, my gallbladder, my thyroid gland, or my uterus. All of those have been removed at different times. I've also had surgery on my foot, a shoulder, and my hand. Number 10, I had babies very quickly. The first 2 took less than 6 hours, and the last one took 2 hours. Number 11, when my kids left home to go to college, I decided that there was no way I could spend the rest of my life worrying about them. So I began to pretend that at 10 o'clock every night they were at home in the college dorm or their apartment or wherever, in the bed, asleep alone. They are now adults. I still do that. I still pretend that they're at home in their beds, and I don't ever worry. There have been times when they have all been in different sections of the country. One of my daughters right now is backpacking in Wyoming. In my mind, at 10 o'clock, she's at home in her own bed, alone. Hey, you should try it. It saves your sanity. Number 12. I hate football. When I got married, it was the beginning of my husband's sophomore year of college. He was there on a football scholarship, so I went to every football game that he played in for 3 years. When he got out of college, he was a football coach for 10 years. I went to every football game that he coached. My son played football. I went to every ball game he played in. My son is a coach. I don't go to all his ball games. I don't like football. I don't like being cold. And most of those games, it's cold. So I just don't go anymore. Number 13, when I was a child, we had a pet skunk. I don't know what they did. They took him to the vet and he had whatever gland that is removed. But skunks are a lot like cats. They can be litter trained, and they just wander around the house. But they like to be petted more than cats do. Anyway, he got out one day, and we never saw him again. 14. I live on a lake. I'm terrified of water over my head. I'm like Abby. Abby mentioned this in her 20 things. With one exception, I've taken swimming lessons 6 times as an adult. The last time I took swimming lessons, I jumped in the deep end of the pool. I swam to the other side. I treaded water for 1 minute and swam back. I've never gotten in the water since. Scared me to death. I hated it. I have been in love with 3 other men besides my husband. The first one was Roy Rogers, and he lasted until I was about 15, I think. Elvis Presley took his place and stayed there until he died. And my current love is Mark Harmon. If they ever take NCIS off the air, I'm going to be devastated. Number 16, I hate exercise. I hate it. I need to do it. Sometimes I do it, but mostly not. I hate it. You would think that would kind of make me if I hate exercise, a girly girl, but I'm really not. I don't like jewelry either, other than earrings, because I feel naked without earrings. Y'all know that. And my wedding ring and my watch. That's usually it for me. That's about all I wear. Number 17. I have traveled to several other countries. I've been to Israel, Italy, Greece, Turkey, England, Ireland. I've been to the Bahamas, to Canada, to Mexico. And that's it. And I'm probably not going to go back to any of those. Although I would love, love, love to go back to England in the summer. That's when I was there before. And oh my goodness, that's beautiful. And I would go back to Israel if that was just a tough trip. I don't do long plane rides well anymore. 18. I've been married for almost 53 years. We went to the same elementary school for a little while, and then to the same high school. We grew up in the same church, but I'd never met him until my senior year of high school. He was a freshman in college. He was dating someone else and had been dating the same someone else for 5 years. And I was pinned, if you know what that means, to his best friend when we met. That's enough said about that, I think. And then the last one is that I wear a CPAP machine at night because I have sleep apnea. And those of you who have remarked on my skin, I have to be really, really careful with that because CPAPs, you can see there's a little groove right there that it's making in my face. So I use a lot of moisturizer in the daytime to try to compensate for that. I can't put any moisturizer on at night because of the CPAP. It would slide around on anything greasy, and you can't do that. So I don't. And here's another little thing. So I forgot to tell you, a couple of people that had asked me about skincare. My skin is dry. I use a lot of moisturizers of all different kinds, some expensive, some cheap. But the one thing I do consistently that I probably didn't mention before is when I'm putting on moisturizer, I put it in the palm of my hand and I put a drop of Young Living frankincense oil in there and kind of stir it up a little bit and put it all over. Frankincense oil is very healing and very good for the skin. And I love it so much. I use a lot of oils, y'all. I would prefer natural healing whenever I can. So I use a lot of oils, Young Living oils in particular. Those are my favorites. And I love those so much that I even became a distributor, if that makes any sense at all. The reason I did that is because I can get a discount on them. So if anybody wants to buy oils, I'd be happy to help you, but I'm not in it to sell it. I mean, I'm not in it to make money. But I can get oils for you if anybody's interested in that. Just let me know. Okay, that's all my 20 things, and I'm up. This is maybe the longest video I've ever done. I do want to say a couple of things, some shout outs. There are so many wonderful Flosstubers out there, and ones I've been watching a long time, like McKenna and Abby and Vanna and Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl, and but there are others that just touch my heart. Lori at Mischievous Stitches, I just love her. and Yvonne at Night Owl Stitcher. They're good friends with each other, and they're just precious to me. Michelle is the new one, Bendy Stitchy. Not real new, but she is wonderful. AmpuStitcher. She has so much joy. Oh my goodness, she's just so fun to watch. Stitching Between the Lines. She's very matter of fact. She does beautiful work. I love seeing hers. Mary Rose at Bliss Stitch Corner. I'm learning a lot from Mary Rose. Sylvia at Beckisland. I absolutely adore her. Buckeye Stitcher. You have to listen really close because she talks real fast, and after I watch her, I catch myself talking a little bit faster too. Although with my southern drawl, it's not very fast at all, I don't think. And Itch to Stitch, I think, is a new one. She's from Australia. I'm bad with names. I'm really bad with names, so sorry, y'all. But there are several others I will try to mention as I go through the next few videos. I know that a lot of people do shout outs, and that helps me when I'm going through and listening, and I go find somebody that I really love. So I will try to remember to do that. I think that's all I have. Can't think of anything else. So I hope y'all have a great weekend. Today is July the 1st. I can't believe it. Wow. I don't know what happened to June. It slid away from me somehow. Anyway, have a great weekend, and I hope I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.